MSP Easy Tools Security Report Pro Edition. So, security reports. How often have you been asked by your clients, who's got access to what in Office 365? Have you ever tried to collate that data, put everything together in a simple format? This was something that I asked one of my senior engineers at Prompt PC to do once, and he went away and it took him best part of a week to deal with it for a business with 100 users. Now that's totally unacceptable from a time frame perspective, and it was really difficult to do. So what we've got here is a very complex but easily put together report that brings all of your clients' Office 365 data together in a very simple format. So click on the security report button, and from the drop down list you just select the client that you want to run from your Microsoft partner portal, and again we have given you the ability to run this on non-partners. So if these are people that are not in your Microsoft partner portal, you can run this report. They will just need to sign in with a global admin account, and they will need to do that 3 times, unfortunately, because the way that it collects all the data. So you can also run it on all your tenants. This does take time. This is the kind of task that you will give to a first line engineer, and it'll be at the end of the day, first line engineer, can you please go in and click on all tenants and start the reports running. When you come back the following morning, obviously depends on the number of clients that you've got and the number of users they've got, hopefully all the reports should be run. So as an example, we're going to run on a Stara. This has got a limited amount of data, so we'll click generate reports. So it's 10:56 now on the clock on the bottom right hand corner, and we'll leave that ticking away. Now while that's running, what we'll do is we'll go and look at a report that was run previously. Now these reports are all stored in folders in the root of the C drive. So if we look in security reports and then click on Astara, this will pull it up. Now, as with all reports in MSP Easy Tool products, where it currently says MSP Easy Tools, you can change that to whatever logo you want, so you can put your company logo into it. This will take a short while for me to run through it, and it's got multiple tabs. Again, it shows you report created for the company name, on the date and the time. So as you can see, I've run this previously. It lists company information. It gives the technical information, the telephone number for that company. This is just the information that's stored in the Microsoft Partner Portal. And now we get into the really nitty-gritty of it, and we try and give some overview on what's happening. So, first section is global administrators. As with on all of the systems that we're going to show, you can search in all of these. So we again only got 4 users, but for the bigger businesses that might be different. You can copy, you can export this to Excel, CSV, PDF, and if you've got more than 15 rows, you can show more than 15 rows. So we've got 15 up to 100, and then click all. So that little flashing thing down here is telling that report was finished, so just click OK. So this is the report that has run normally, and as you can see, it's took about a minute and a half, 2 minutes to run. Relatively small number of users. When we run this report on a company with say 50 users, it takes between 4 and 5 minutes for the entire report to run. So let's get back to the what's in here. So first section lists all your global administrators, what the role is, what their name are, whether their MFA is enabled, and as you can see, we've got 1 which is green and 3 which are red, telling us that we've got a problem, that MFA has not been enabled for these 3 users. It then shows you whether they're licensed and whether they're blocked, and lists their email address. Really important, obviously, any global administrators now in Office 365 should be MFA'd. That's something for you to immediately action and discuss with your clients. Next little tab is, or next section on this tab is domains. We've got clients that have got multiple domain names, and we've had it in the past whereby they've called up and said, my emails have stopped working for a particular domain. We've gone in and realised that actually they haven't renewed on their domain name renewals, so that domain name has become suspended, which in turn has turned off the verification status in Office 365, and the emails have stopped coming in. So this is a really quick way of seeing whether those domains are actually still verified, and if they're not, well, you can go back into the portal. Next section is users with strong password enforcement disabled, something which Microsoft have in theory turned off, so that they can end users can't use simple passwords, but there is still an option in the back end to use in PowerShell to reactivate that feature. You obviously don't want users with very simple passwords. So again, quick way of tracking down. And then on the finally on this tab, we have users with password expiry policy disabled. Do you want your clients not to change their passwords on a regular basis? Not really. You want them changing them as this is good practice. But there may be occasions when you need to stop a password from being changed. So it just means that you're aware of them and you can do something about it. So let's look at the admins tab. This lists not just global administrators, but any type of administrators as well. There are over 20 different types of admin accounts in Office 365, and this just means that you can keep track. Now, in the small businesses, there probably aren't going to be many that type of admin accounts, but if you're dealing with multinational businesses, perhaps with their own internal IT companies, you may have different people having different rights. So typically it might be someone's got access as a SharePoint administrator or an Exchange administrator, and you need to know who's got those. But again, it's listing pretty much the same as we saw on the first tab, but this time we're now seeing a global reader is available as well as an admin. Again, lists all the users, their names, their MFA status, and whether they're licensed or not. Just gives you the ability to keep on top. Next tab, users. This goes away and interrogates the users in the Office 365 platform. Now, as you can see, we're only showing one of 26 users. So if you wanted to see all the users in one go, you could literally hit the relative number, and then you can see that we've got all the users. Now, this is the demo platform, so we've set up some users, but let's look at Quinn. Now, Quinn is our theoretical managing director or CEO, chief exec of Astara. So you want to see quickly what he's got. So a name, primary domain, primary email address, license types, licenses that he's got, what email type he's got, last login that he made, whether his MFA is enabled, and it lists all of his aliases. A quick way to track down all the information about that user if you're after something specific. Okay, so as you can see, it also lists any guest mail accounts, any room mailboxes, or equipment mailbox in this section. We deal with that a little bit later on. Next tab is groups. So it lists all the groups, and this is where we start to see some more of those warnings. If you have anything that is a potential security breach point, then we will highlight it and make sure you're fully aware of it. So on the right hand side here, we've got Office 365 mail enabled groups with external members. So we've identified this is potentially where that cyber criminals would be able to send emails out of the business. So here we've got a distribution group, and if you look closely, you can see we've got a distribution group which has got an external email address in it, and this is repeated a couple of times. So we've got this Alfie McD, we've got this Paolo at gpost PC 321, and then in the next distribution group we can see the same again, but it is a different distribution group. Now these distribution groups are fully searchable, so it means you can very quickly search for things. So let's look at the DMARC group, and we can spot here, for example, actually Jenny at Astara. We haven't got Jenny. Jenny doesn't exist at Astara, so who is this? So what else is Jenny in? So you can again type in Jenny now, and you can see she's part of the main Office 365 group, which you would expect, but also she's in a group called Astara Security. She's in dispatch, she's in marketing, she's in sales, she's in security groups, and she's in security alpha. This Jenny is in quite a lot of groups. We'll come back to Jenny in a minute as we work our way through. So as you can see, really quick, really simple way to look for security groups and look at all the different types of groups that are in the system. Next tab is licenses. It lists all the licenses in the business. Now again, this is a demo system with a limited number of Office 365 licenses, and you can see it lists all the licenses that we've got, how many are assigned and how many are unassigned. If we've assigned all the licenses, then that's a good thing. It means you're using the right numbers. But if we weren't using licenses, if there were some free, then this would be in yellow. So just a quick number of the tally here, but really usefully on the right hand side, it again shows you what the Office license type is, but it then shows you who's got the licenses, meaning you can keep track of the licenses that are in use and making sure that you're actually giving them out to the right person. Now again, we can see here Jenny has got an Exchange Online Plan 1 license. So let's look at something really critical. Mailbox access. Who's got access to whose mailbox? I'm not sure whether you ever tried to do this manually for yourself, but it's not a straightforward case of going into, in this example, say Quinn's email account. So Quinn, Managing Director, Chief Exec, CEO, if he turns around, and as the boss, he turns around and says, I want to know who's got access to my mailbox. You can't just go into Quinn's mailbox. What you have to do is go into every single user's mailbox. Now, in the test demo environment, we've got about 10 users. It normally takes 2 or 3 minutes to log into each of those user accounts and then check to see which mailboxes they've got access to. Now take that for a business with 40 users, 100 users, 1,000 users, 2,000 users. How long would that take you? What's the chances of that being done wrong? Our system does it all automatically and collates it all. So very quickly it's identified that for Quinn's account, he's got a user mailbox, that this Jenny at Astara has got access to his mailbox. So any emails that are being sent or received to Quinn, Jenny is able to just tap in and see. Okay, and as you can also see, Jenny's also got access to the support mailbox. Very interesting. So we'll come on to Jenny in a few seconds. Contacts tabs. In Office 365, I'm sure you're all aware that you can share documents from SharePoint and OneDrive to external external users. And what our system does shows you who's got access to documents in your Office 365 platform. So anyone listed in the Office 365 mail users, you can see that these people have been shared documents with. Now, in this report, it's not possible to show you what files and folders are being shared with other users. It just produces way too much data. But what you can now do is go through with your end user clients and say, who is this Alpha McD? Do you know who this person is? Should we be sharing documents with them? We had a really good example with one of our MSP Easy Tools clients where they ran it on with one of their clients. Basically, they identified that, and we'll say Alfie McD had actually been fired 6 months previously. He'd been fired, but before he left, what he'd done, he'd shared the entire contents of SharePoint with his personal email address. So for the last 6 months, he's had full access to all the data in their client's database, in their client's data systems. Not the right way to go, is it? So very simple way of running through and checking to see who's got access to what documents. What I should say is, if you do identify any people in here, all you have to do is go into the Microsoft Compliance Center, run their email address in there, and it will show you all the files and folders that they've got access to. Next tab is the Resources tab. This shows you which Office 365 room mailboxes you've got and Office 365 equipment mailboxes you've got. Might be important, might not. Next three tabs are the killer applications as such, very much like the Groups tab. This shows you all the places whereby any forwarding is going on in your systems, and again, external forwarding on mailboxes, really critical to showing what's going out of the business. Now, we were talking about Jenny earlier on, and we now suspect that she's a cyber criminal that's got into the system. She's created herself an account. If we go back onto the admins tab, we can see that she's got a global admin account. So go back to forwarders. We've got Quinn. So Quinn, we've said, is the managing director. This shows that any emails that get sent to Quinn are automatically forwarded straight onto Jenny. So Jenny hasn't got to sign in. Literally all the emails are coming out. And then Jenny's got a forwarder. Jenny sends all emails out to Quinn at this GDS PVC1 account. So through a series of of external forwarders on mailboxes, she sent an automatic email straight into herself, and then that forwards out again to her. Very dangerous. Next tab is transport rules. So this lists any transport rules, both internal and external. So forwarded. So if we look at this, in this example, any emails sent to support and includes the word Sydney in the subject are forwarded to an external email address. Could be legitimate, possibly not. And then we're talking about any email that's sent to Jenny is forwarded blind copied onto an external email address again. So you can see how dangerous these are, especially when they start talking about bank details. So really straightforward, and this lists all of the transport rules so you can go through and check everything. And then the final one is inbox rules. So this lists all the inbox rules that are currently held in Exchange. Again, on the right hand side, it shows any inbox rules that forward externally, so we can see anything that's sent to support at and includes the words finance is externally forwarded to Quinn at this gexdsqa.uk account. But quite usefully, it also lists any email, any inbox rules that are on the user, and these are fully searchable. So if you want to find out what inbox rules Quinn's running, you can see very quickly all of his inbox rules. So this is one that we've seen before. If any message was received from Jenny, then these are sent to the folder called Jenny. It's gone into hidden into that folder there. But you know, when a client calls up and says, I've got inbox rule, I've got emails that I know have come in, but I just can't find them. What you can do is just look at their inbox rules, and you can see here, if the email box was, the message was received from Mark at A-Stara, take the following action, delete the message. So somehow or other, he set it to delete a message. You haven't had to get onto the end user's machine. All you've done is clicked on and run this report, and now you can see very quickly those reports. Hopefully you agree with me that this is an extremely powerful tool. Imagine sitting in front of your clients with this. I typically run this, take this tool and use it every time I do a quarterly or 6 monthly review. But I love using this tool when I'm sat in front of a prospective client. Nobody else can run these reports in the same way that you can. Put your logo on it. It shows you in depth any of the security issues that are going on. I would be surprised if you don't run this report and find something to talk about in terms of cybersecurity, potential breach with prospective clients. Hopefully, obviously, if you're going to do this in front of your own clients, you've run the report previously and ironed out any issues ready for them to talk about. Okay,